The next argument, which gives us strong evidence for the existence of a creator, is called the fine-tuning argument. Now, in order for there to be life on Earth, we need many things to go right. In other words, there are many parameters that you need before you can have life. Therefore, the more parameters you have, the lower the chance of life coming into existence randomly on its own. Now, here's an example. This could be specifically seen with the Earth's placement in our solar system, which allows it to support life. So, if the Earth was too close to the sun, everything would burn. If it was too far, everything would freeze. That's an example of one parameter. Here's another example of a parameter. So, it has to do in regards to the planet Jupiter, the big orange planet. We know that the bigger the planet is, the more gravitational pull it has. Therefore, since the Earth is bigger than the Moon, the gravity is much stronger. So an example, to give a better example, if you're on the Earth and you're trying to dunk on a 10-foot basket, it's going to be very, very difficult. But if you are on the Moon and you want to dunk on a 10-foot basket, you have a much better chance because there's less gravity and it could be much easier to jump. So you could see here that right next to Mars, there's an asteroid belt. Right after Mars, in between Mars and Jupiter. And it's very close to the Earth, and the asteroids are very large, and they're traveling thousands of miles per hour, and many of them fly very close to the Earth. Now, if just one asteroid, by the way, hits the Earth at this high speeds, it can nearly wipe out all the life on the planet. But it happened to be that Jupiter's placement in our solar system is positioned in such a way that if not for its gravitational pull, as we said before, because since it's so big, when a planet's big, it has such a strong gravitational pull, and Jupiter is a very big planet, that many large asteroids would collide with the Earth, destroying all life in the process. Meaning, since Jupiter is so big, instead of these asteroids pelting the Earth, Jupiter, using its gravitational pull, saves the day and takes the hits for the Earth. So, again, this is just two parameters. There's hundreds and hundreds of parameters, maybe thousands, just to have life on Earth. And now, there's some people who claim that this entire complex universe came to be on its own, with no creator guiding the entire process. So let's see what the probability that the Earth could be placed in such a perfect spot that would enable it to harbor life, specifically human life. What's the probability that the Earth was placed in such a perfect spot that there could be life? The probability, according to the theory of evolution, for just one enzyme, a protein, to evolve through the inanimate, meaning that from not living, from no life, for just one enzyme to evolve through the inanimate is 1 over 10 to the 40th power. Now, if we take 25,000 enzymes in our body, and we have more than that, then the probability of all these enzymes spontaneously coming about in 1 billion years is 1 over 10 to the 600,000th power. Basically 0. And by the way, an enzyme is a protein which speeds up the rate of chemical reactions in a body. And this reaction helps support life. And without enzymes, there wouldn't be life. Now let's take this a step further. The possibility of humans coming into existence by evolving from spontaneous generation. Meaning there's some people say, oh yeah, human beings, it all happened on its own. No God, no nothing, it happened. Let's see what the probability of that is. The probability of that happening is 1 over 10 to the 1.25 trillion power. To put this into better perspective, this is the same probability of rolling a double 6 on an even dice 100 trillion times in a row. That's the probability of, yes, the human body coming in on its own. The idea is this idea is absolutely mind-blowing, and yet people often think it was all a coincidence and everything was created randomly. This chance of 1 in 10 to the power of 1.25 trillion possibility of humans existing today spontaneously is absolutely not probable. Possible, but very improbable. The only alternative to a random spontaneous generation is to believe in a single primary act of supernatural creation, God. There is no third option. It's either spontaneous generation or super creator. And the source for that is Strengthen Your Emunah, page 57. Now, let's go to the next slide. To take this into better perspective, to visualize this, the famous astronomer Fred Hoyle, who's a Nobel Prize winner, he said that the probability of a bacteria performing abiogenesis, meaning going from the inanimate to the animate, from non-life to life, he says the probability of that is less than the chance that a tornado sweeping through a junkyard might assemble a Boeing 747 airplane, as you can see in the picture below. Just imagine the seats, the screens, and the engine of a 747 airplane coming into existence randomly and being all put together in the perfect position via a tornado. The probability of this airplane, you have a junkyard with all the pieces scattered, that a tornado comes and puts this airplane together with everything in the correct spot, that is more likely than just a single bacteria developing on its own. Unbelievable. Statistically speaking, such a probability is zero. So for whoever wants to say that life came on its own and there was no guiding hand, they're relying on such low probabilities that this was all random, very low, basically zero. So we have to understand that life coming into existence by itself is extremely improbable, let alone the whole world. So many things have to go right in order for the earth and the planets and everything to be here today. Therefore, it seems that there must be some driving power behind everything that orchestrates these miracles, right? That orchestrates these miraculous or infinitely probable, quote-unquote, events, which foster creation and maintenance of an earth with conditions allowing the survival of life. A person could call this power whatever he wants, but the Jewish Torah calls this superpower God. Now, in regards to the fine-tuning argument, even Christopher Hitchens, which is the argument we gave right now, Christopher Hitchens, who is one of atheists' most aggressive advocates, he said that without question, the fine-tuning argument was one of the most powerful arguments of the other side. Therefore, with all that being said, the first cause argument, the intelligent design theory, and fine-tuning argument gives us very strong evidence for a primary being which not only began the processes of creation, but made sure so many things went right in order for life to be here today. And we call this primary being God.